der zentralen Position. Nur Schwarze hat er vor sich. Dann ist es Fjortoft. Er ist im Strafraum. Und der Feld. Tor! Tor! Für die Frankfurter Eintracht. 5:1. Herrlich!
Hi and welcome to the German Fußball podcast, and for this special episode, as one of the biggest icons and legends of the game of German football has passed away, Franz Beckenbauer. And to commemorate, to remember the legend that he is, Dad, you're here with me, and I'm obviously part of a younger generation, but for you, just starting off, what did Franz Beckenbauer mean to you?
I think for my generation, he is maybe the greatest, alongside Johan Cruyff. I am born in 1967, so the first game I ever can remember to see was the World Cup final between West Germany and the Netherlands. I was a fan of Johan Cruyff. I was a fan of the orange shirt of Holland, but I realized that the Germans win everything where they take part of in football at that time. And the main man was the Kaiser, the king, the emperor, Franz Beckenbauer. So he's winning Euros 72. He's in 66 the first time we saw him. Then he lost the final against England. That's Jeff Hurst. Big day when he scored a hat-trick and English football got their one and only World Cup title. But one World Cup title wasn't enough for Franz Beckenbauer. Fast forward, and he's just one of three personalities that have won the World Cup both as a coach and as a player. When he won in 1990 with West Germany, Lothar Matthäus, his captain, winning World Cup. But Franz Beckenbauer, Markus, he was so much more, because he was one of those elegant players. When you saw him play, he was always with a style, with a charisma, with something that you don't see on many players. So he was playing for Bayern Munich, a big Bayern Munich icon, of course. They're winning the European Cup, then now Champions League, 3 years in a row. Gerd Müller, the striker, Sepp Maier, the goalkeeper, and a lot of great players. But the one and only, that was Franz Beckenbauer. He was there. He was their leader. And then out of nothing, he suddenly went to New York Cosmos. That try they had to make a fantastic team in New York, trying to get soccer, football into the American market. He played with Pelé in one team. Then he came back, played a bit from Hamburger Sportverein, and then he went back to Cosmos. And straight after that, he went into being the team chef, the main man for Germany. And not only did he win in 1990, he also went to the final in 1986. But I mean, the destiny, Diego Maradona, that was just meant to be. He winning, Argentina beating Germany, West Germany in the final. So Franz Beckenbauer, Markus, he was an icon as a player. He was an icon as a coach, but he was a global star. For my generation, he would be like, I don't want to compare anyone, but now when you have all this media, you have their own social media channels. But this was a time that they didn't have a lot of channels. And Franz Beckenbauer was recognized amongst Pelé, amongst Muhammad Ali, as one of the greatest sport personalities, and I'm talking a global star.
Try to explain the standing he had in Germany as well. Obviously, you have people from outside, but there you mentioned earlier the Kaiser, the emperor. But it seemed like it was that the way he was perceived was that he was just the man. And you've obviously been fortunate enough to work with him as well. What's it like being around someone like that when, you know, with that aura, that presence that he had?
Well, Germany is a big country. I mean, in so many areas, they have been global. They have been doing, you just think of the car industry, think of all the great families that have made the industry and culturally and all those kind of things. But you may make a claim that Franz Beckenbauer was the most famous German of all time. Franz Beckenbauer, when he said something, everybody stood. Whatever he said, Markus, and I'll talk more about my personal thing with him, but whatever he said, they said if he would say that the ball was a square, people would have believed it because the Kaiser said so. And not only did it, just have a look at the photos of his prime. He was not only the best football player, not only the most elegant player, he was good looking, Marcus. He was superstar. He was the media darling. Not only did he go on shows for football, he was all over the place. He was one of the first football stars he had a great manager. He earned a lot of money. He was innovation, whatever he did, he was just one of the men. I had the pleasure when I worked for Topspiel by Sky Germany for 3 years, and Franz Beckenbauer was around. It was not like we saw him in the daily life, but when you had the big games, Franz was there. And they say that you should never meet your favorites because you will be disappointed. Well, Marcus, this was totally the opposite. When you met Franz Beckenbauer, he was so charming. He was so humble. He was so kind to share his wisdom, his knowledge of everything. And I was like, the German language, you have to see. So you have the polite way of saying it. He had just say straight away, Jan, say do. And first of all, okay, I don't have to concentrate on that. And we had a bus at Sky when we prepared for the games, and we went from the private clothing into our Sky clothing, and you were standing there sharing a dressing room with not only Lothar Matthäus, who was my usual partner, but also Franz Beckenbauer. And there was a story where I had to go to USA for a project that was called Handshake for Peace. And I was meeting one of the most, what shall I say, scandalous football leaders, Chuck Blazer, who was, it was later, well, all kind of allegations. You just have to find, but we have to talk to him because he was sitting in the FIFA Exco committee. So I said to Franz Beckenbauer, when I send him a mail, can I say that I talked to you? He said, just do that, no problem. And when I came to America, the red carpet was out there. He was so, I mean, everybody loved Franz Beckenbauer. And 2013, there was the Champions League final between Bayern and Dortmund. I guess you remember that game. I was there for Viaplay. He was working for Sky. We were still colleagues doing the Bundesliga. So I'm calling up this producer of ours, Klaus. So I said to Klaus, it's so difficult. I called him after the game. Can I get to you? Can I go with you guys? Yeah, but you have to hurry up. We are on this and this gate. Say that was gate 47. And I was looking around. It was gate 25, 26. And I was running because it was so difficult to go away from Wembley. And he was calling, yeah, I'm coming. I'm running as fast as I can. And then I came and I found the car. I jumped into the car. There was like 2 seats at the back, like 1 seat there. And I was sitting opposite straight into Franz Beckenbauer. Remember, Bayern Munich has just won the final. Arjen Robben had made a match-winning thing. And the first thing he said to me, did you see Schweinsteiger, how deep he was? How can you play that deep? It's unbelievable. He's not a libero. He's a midfielder. He's playing too deep. And I was listening to this guy. He'd been the president of honor of Bayern Munich. And he was down to the small details of the game. And I said to him, yeah, but you won the game, haven't you? And I said, forget winning the game. We have to play it a proper way. This is not the way we're going to win the game. We were sitting in the car, so I asked him, where are you going now? Because I was thinking I had to jump off going to my hotel. And then he said, we're going to the celebration of the party for Bayern Munich. They had a hotel with a lot of bodyguards. But I was like, okay. I said, maybe if I stick to you, very close to you, do man marking, maybe I can get into this party. Yeah. Just stay very close to me. So Marcus, I've done man marking, and you have seen the video of that celebration when Bayern Munich came down the stairs to Umpa music of German folks music. So one of the greatest, Marcus. I will say that Sir Bobby Charlton just passed away in England, and the influence he had on English football. I would say that he had the same stature of his generation. They were the same generation. They respected each other. But Franz Beckenbauer was so much more, winning the World Cup, both as a player and a coach, even took the 2006 World Cup to Germany. And remember, there were allegations that there was some wrongdoing. I think that harmed Franz Beckenbauer a lot. This allegation, this is a guy that never had a problem. At the end, the allegation was taken away. He didn't have to go to court on this. But I will say, Marcus, and I see now, I'm reading all the German outlets as well, and I've read and I heard that before. His friends are saying in 2015, he lost his son. And I think that kind of broke him. I think that kind of, as you understand, of course, that took a very, very toll on him. And then if you, with the illness that he had, then he got slowly and slowly weaker. We've seen some photos of him from about a year ago, and you saw that he was his illness is
a bit more frail.
Yeah, it was a bit frail, as you can see. And then we saw him back at the Allianz Arena. I'm not sure, just some time ago, and it's still, that wasn't the Franz Beckenbauer, but Franz Beckenbauer will be remembered as the Kaiser, as the Emperor, as one of the most elegant players who have ever played. And I'm just saying, tonight, he passed away on Sunday, but we know today in heaven, he is one of the few that can go straight into the starting 11 with Johan Cruyff, with Sir Bobby Charlton, with Gerd Müller, maybe the greatest goal getter of all time, his friend and his teammate. There was a story, Marcus, if I may say. I mean, Gerd Müller, he was very punctual. He always wanted to be on time. Franz Beckenbauer was the Kaiser, and Gerd Müller used to pick him up for games. This was before the time when you met up in a hotel and everything. So they picked him up, and Gerd Müller was there punctual. Beckenbauer a bit late. He came into the car, and Gerd Müller said, we have to hurry. We have to catch the game. And Franz Beckenbauer just looked at him and said, they won't start without us, Gerd. They won't start without us. And I think that sums up the Kaiser in a way.
And it is one of those players, you put him in the same block as a Cruyff, a Maradona, Pelé, who were part of that advent when which football was made global as well, and better yet for a defender as well, and going straight into my generation as well. And like you touched upon, that kind of elegance from the back there, which still would be drawn comparisons to Beckenbauer if you were a good, technically good, gifted defender as well, which is like incredible looking back at like how long it's been since he's played. But like you said, also excelled as a manager, as then within bringing Germany back home. It's fantastic. And I guess just lastly, how do you expect, or how is German commemorating and remembering their emperor, so to speak, now, and whether that has some bearing going into the weekend as well?
Well, exactly the way when the emperor dies. I have to say that. I mean, it's just, the report has just been out. It's all over the place, of course, what they are talking about him. But I think that not only was the most influential, the most popular, the most famous German maybe of all time. I'm just thinking of things that you can say about him that makes him justice. But I think, Marcus, it's just this elegance. The England players or the English crowd will talk about the Bobby Moore. Bobby Moore was also his generation. They kind of respected each other. Bobby Moore being the legendary captain from the England winning team in the World Cup. 1970, you will see photos of now, Marcus. At that time, you can only have two subs in international, and he broke his shoulder. And instead of going off, and if you have the young viewers going to YouTube, he's playing with his arm like this, playing with tape all around it, just play with one arm. And that is just putting that into his thing. And it was also funny to work with him because it was a standing joke, because people like myself going into the Sky show or a Top Spiel where we were so prepared for everything. And then Franz just kind of not walking into the bus, he was just flowing. He just came with of course, that is your expectation, your anticipation. I'm looking for the right words, but he just came in and he would say like, this is a game, it's 0-0. We need a goal. Then it would be 1-0. He would just say things like that. Everybody say, yeah, of course, you're so right. But his analysis, which I showed then after the Champions League final, that was him. He was a footballer through and through. He was a superstar, yes. He was a global star. He was a great looking man. I mean, Franz Beckenbauer, what's that kind of man crush kind of guys? When you saw Franz Beckenbauer, his aura, his charisma was enormous. But I think that and we can discuss from here and rest of our life who were the best players. But this is one of the most intelligent players, one of the most elegant player. And I think today, at least my generation, I respect that your generation, Franz Beckenbauer, is a part of the football history that I think everybody should be discussing, investigating, be curious to see. But I think that everybody, if you put a global advisory board to make the starting 11 of all time, Franz Beckenbauer will 100% be in there. You can discuss who's the best striker, who's the best goal getter, but I guess you will never, ever argue that Franz Beckenbauer was the best defender of all time. But just to call him defender, just limit him. He was a symbol of the elegance of football. Franz Beckenbauer, Markus, was one of the main reasons that people in my generation got in love with football. That was Franz Beckenbauer. Yes, we have to get him in a memory of his time, but this is also a tribute to one of the greatest, Markus. And I just hope that you and your fellow people in your generation will have a look tonight. Go into YouTube, whatever, find some clips. You will see, follow the news tonight, and you will see that this was one of the greatest footballers, one of the greatest sports idols of all time.